So the boys over at Man vs. Street went out and asked people about socialism, and they asked two groups, Hispanics and college students, and compared the responses. You guys, we're going to be unpacking a handful of scenes from this video today. But before we do, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you all for being here. If you could please hit that like button, I'd greatly appreciate it. It actually really does help for the algorithm. Everyone says it. I know it's annoying, but if you could please do it, I'd greatly appreciate it. And then lastly, this video is sponsored by my good friends over at Undertac. Huge shout out to them. We'll talk about them a little bit more in a bit. So the video is called Hispanics vs. College Kids on Socialism. Link to the full video, as always, will be down in the description below. Go support them. Let's jump in.
Do you think the U.S. should embrace socialism?
Yeah, I'm a Marxist.
Yes.
No, I don't think socialism is good.
When everybody is feeding into one cause, which is like healthcare, education.
At the expense of who?
If it's the rich, it's the rich.
We're from Bolivia, and it's impacted our country negatively, so I think, in my opinion, I'm not a huge fan of extreme socialism.
The girl before, this girl right here, talking about, well, if it's the rich, it's the rich. No, it's actually everybody. That's who gets impacted. So they're asking a good mix of people. Let's move on to this self-proclaimed Marxist.
Capitalism is a plague and will kill everyone, even the people that benefit from it.
Can you describe why?
Are you familiar with the image of Ouroboros, snake that eats itself? It's an accurate representation of how capitalism thrives on the extraction not only of the labor of workers in the first world, but especially of the natural resources and the labor in the third world. And when that resource runs out, the bourgeoisie will turn on it themselves and eat each other.
It's really interesting. It sounds like he's just describing Chairman Mao's Great Leap Forward. I mean, that's really what that sounds like. Hey, I guess everyone's gonna die and we're all gonna eat each other because of capitalism. That's his selling point. We'll see if that holds up with what the Hispanics have to say.
I feel like a lot of people like the concept of socialism because equality.
That it doesn't work, especially on these days. You have Venezuela, you have Cuba. I'm very sorry.
And use like the Scandinavian, let's say, economist concepts, then I feel like it's not a bad idea at all.
Okay, say you're a millionaire and this person only has a couple $100s. What if they take your wealth and spread it between two people so they both have equal amounts of money? Are you okay with that?
No. I am not okay with that.
It didn't take much for that kid to change his mind. Good pushback from Malik right here. Pretty basic concept though, right? But as soon as he actually listens to it and says, okay, I don't know if that's quite what I'm looking for. Now, you did hear him, this student, kind of leaning towards the Scandinavian countries. A lot of people bring that up. Those are not socialist countries. And we'll probably hear more about that. But they often bring up examples that aren't even socialist countries. Maybe at one point they were more socialist, but largely most of them have moved much more towards a kind of capitalist economy because that's actually how they get things to run and pay for their social programs that they do have. I will say, one thing that's kind of scary about this video is it's incredibly easy to go out and find college students that think that socialism is a good idea, even on the most extreme ends. We have polls coming out. There's countless polls about this. I just pulled up one from Newsweek reporting on it showing that 54% of Gen Z, ages 18 to 24, hold negative views of capitalism. Meanwhile, just 42% of the young generation view capitalism favorably. This stuff is not happening on accident. There's a handful of reasons why. I mean, geez, they look at the world crumbling around them, how generations before them have been just destroying the country, and they're going to have to foot the bill. That's just one reason, one basic reason why they don't have a favorable view of capitalism. But of course, they grow up with TV shows, movies, education system that's just objectively anti-America and anti-capitalism. How else do you think they're going to end up? They're going to these liberal college campuses and that's all they're hearing around them. I mean, this stuff is not a surprise. It's actually more impressive to me if you come out of that system a conservative because it shows that you rejected the systemic left-wing agenda. All right, you guys, let's take a few moments to talk about today's sponsor. Are you wearing underwear with some creepy old dude's name on the waistband? If yes, then one, that is objectively weird, but two, it's probably time to make a change. Trust me on this one, you guys. I used to be that guy. Don't be that guy. In fact, even if you're not that guy wearing some creepy old dude's name on the waistband of your underwear, it's probably still time to order a fresh new pair. Undertac aren't your typical men's boxers. They're made with modal. Think of like cotton, just way better. It's 50% more moisture-wicking, antibacterial, and way softer. Undertack stays in place with a sturdy yet comfortable extra-wide waistband, and the fly design is brilliantly straightforward. They're durable, ultralight, fade-resistant, and shrink-resistant. Here's the best part. They're 25% less expensive than the competition, and if that's not enough, you guys, they donate a portion of their profits to organizations actively in the fight against human trafficking. Go pick up a drawer full today, you guys. It's what I'm wearing right now. It's literally all I wear now. Visit undertack.com. That's undertack.com. Use offer code KLUG20 for 20% off site-wide. Exceptional comfort, twice the guarantee, a fraction of the price. Undertack.com. That's undertac.com. Use offer code KLUG20 for 20% off site-wide. I will put a link down in the description below. Let's go back to this video.
Some of the socialist policies that you like.
All of them.
Do you think the U.S. should embrace socialism?
I don't. Most often, as we've seen in history, socialist practices can at times lead into communism, and that poses a lot of risks.
What would you say to all the people that say socialism doesn't work?
We've seen it work in other countries. We don't know if it'll work here. Capitalism obviously doesn't work for America.
Why?
Because we're in such a load of debt. There's so many people who can't afford education, can't afford housing. They're using capitalism as like a way to defend it, but I don't think it's that great here.
Any examples of capitalism not working in America?
I think it's like 2008. I don't know.
Which countries did you say, you said socialism works?
Isn't it Sweden?
Okay. So capitalism's not working because of the housing crisis in 2008. And then it doesn't work. She's saying it doesn't work. Just look around us. Well, we've created the most powerful country on the face of the earth. So the evidence probably goes a little bit against you. And then Sweden, first of all, not a socialist country. Sweden is actually a country that has moved away from socialism. They were a lot more socialist, let's say 40 years ago, but their economy was stagnating and they moved away from it. And since then, they've actually been experiencing more of a boom. Also, using that example, there's 10 million people in Sweden. You're comparing this to a country with 330 million people. Sorry, 10 million. It's a homogenous country as well. That's just such a funny and bad comparison. I don't know why they keep grabbing onto that.
What would you say to the kids that say they like socialism?
I think, first of all, they need to travel those countries and see exactly how people are living over there, how they're complaining.
Do you think the U.S. should embrace socialism?
I don't know enough, but like my gut is yes, like universal health care, I think like social safety net.
There's a lot of laws that are aimed to look like they're helping like the poor population, but they affect them more like negatively because they want to like make the businesses lose money so that the government ends up winning.
They want everybody to be equal, but at the same time, you have to let people to grow.
Is it like very equal?
No, from my point of view, it wasn't. It isn't, at least in Bolivia.
You have two people right here just speaking from experience, certainly this lady, saying, no, it doesn't work. This doesn't work. False promises. They enrich themselves and everyone else ends up poor. It completely eliminates any incentive to be the best you can be and become as wealthy as possible, which in turn makes everyone else around you wealthy. It's so unbelievable to me, seeing how many people have fled socialist countries to come to the United States, and there's none of that on the opposite way. There's no people running away from capitalism to go to these socialist countries. Why is that? I mean, I feel like it's just common sense stuff that people should just be able to put together, but they can't. How many Cubans do we have in the United States that are saying, yeah, no, it's a bad idea. We've tried it. It's awful. Don't do it. How many warnings do we need? Mao Zedong's Great Leap Forward wasn't enough of a warning. Tens of millions of lost lives because of socialism and communism. But the answer will always be, well, it's never been properly tried. It has, and it fails every single time.
We had a girl that was from a socialistic country, and she told us she hated it and her country sucked. What do you have to say about that? She was from Bolivia.
Bolivia is not exactly a socialist paradise where workers totally own the means of production. It is merely a social democratic country with progressive policies and a country that ensures a representation of its various indigenous peoples.
In Latin America, when you go there, you go to the little towns and you see how bad they live. They're very poor. I mean, we living in 2023 and they still some of them, they don't even speak Spanish. If we're talking about equalism, okay, so build a nice university for all these people too. Or you just want to keep them like that. I think that's what they want.
I would volunteer in orphanages, and so I saw how these people, like, they would tell me that for elections they would get like 200 bolivianos, which is like nothing, to vote for this president. But at the end, they wouldn't get education, they wouldn't get anything else that they needed. Because the government would just be like, oh, take this, and it's enough, in the name of socialism, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's so typical. It's wild seeing like miniature versions, or maybe it's not miniature anymore, but it's wild seeing versions of that being used in the United States, where it's saying, we'll buy your vote by making this promise. Hey, I'll pay for your student loans. You know, you went out and you took out those loans and you went to that school, and that was all on you, but I'm gonna pay for it, right? I'm gonna buy those votes. We do the same thing in the United States right now, because politicians are discovering that actually works. People in her home country figured out that actually works, and people are stupid enough to vote for it. And then when you get in there, you do something else and don't deliver that, or perhaps you do at the detriment of your country. One major fact about that, though, is you just can't keep doing it for too long. Your system will completely collapse.
I was Che Guevara for Halloween.
Why did you dress up as him?
Because I liked his ideals. I think he died in an honorable way.
Oh, okay. The Che Guevara. That's, first of all, Che Guevara responsible for what? The murder of thousands of people, the torturing of thousands of people. Also, lady, he hated black people. Okay, so whatever his communist revolution was, he wanted you to be no part of it. I mean, these jokes are writing themselves.
And what's your final message to all people who are pro-capitalism?
You will not survive capitalism. Capitalism by nature is cannibalistic.
If you never travel outside of the United States, you cannot say, yeah, socialism. No.
This guy's having absolutely none of it. Yeah, I mean, you know, the other guys are saying, no, you're going to die. This is a pretty interesting concept for a video. I like this one. Just kind of seeing these responses from people that have actually lived it, and then talking to just ignorant college students that actually think that it's a good idea. And I'm not surprised. Like I mentioned, I'm not surprised that these college students think it's a good idea. I'm not surprised that the majority of Gen Z thinks that socialism is a good idea. It really shows you why, you know, when you're wondering about, okay, why the open border policies and why all these insane programs when we're over $30 trillion in debt, why does it feel like we're always putting America last? Why are we doing all of this stuff that's hurting our country so very much? I mean, how many, 7 million illegal crossings just under Biden alone? We don't have room in our hospitals for that. We don't have room in our schools for that. Why are we so set on destroying this country? And at this point, it's been Republicans and Democrats, primarily Democrats, for a lot of these policies that are so incredibly destructive. But a big reason is because the goal is to destabilize. The goal is to make life harder on you. The goal is to make life unlivable so you can't buy closer they'll get to their goal of restructuring the country. So don't just think it's a big mistake when there's actually an agenda at play here. More people like this teaching your kids in government, implementing bad policy. The higher this number, the more they get what they want. You guys, let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know down in the comment section below if you have any notes or any thoughts or anything like that. If you guys enjoyed my commentary, please make sure to hit that like button, make sure to subscribe for more videos, and hit that bell notification button so you're notified next time I post. And I'll catch you guys all in the next video.